What runs between us, sit with me in the seat of the observer, I left a comment on a TikTok. I don't do that often. When I do, it's considered usually when I feel I have an accurate read on something that hasn't been named yet in the thread. This was one of those times. The content creator started following me after the comment. This particular follow landed in a way I couldn't immediately account for. Something in my system registered it as significant before I understood why. So I did what I do with most things that arrive that way. I sat with it. I let it be present without reaching for an explanation. And slowly, the way things do when you give them room, what was underneath it became visible. Sit with me in the seat of the observer. A creator was posting about her success. She'd paid herself $200,000 in 5 months after pivoting away from a corporate career. The video was going viral in the way that success-adjacent distress tends to. The comment section doing what comment sections do, half affirming, half challenging. When I watched the TikTok, I saw the cost. Not as moral judgment, just neutral information about what the experience was actually drawing on. My comment reflected that. Not the achievement, not the distress. The thing underneath both. The grief that lives inside a pivot that works. You spent years on a path, time, money, identity, the particular kind of investment that comes from genuinely believing in something, and then you leave it. Successfully, undeniably, by every external measure. And the internal system hasn't caught up yet. The success is real. The grief is also real. Both at once. That's not a problem to solve. That's what cost actually looks like. The comment held room for that complexity. The grief and the success coexisting, neither cancelling the other out. Not a resolution, not a reframe, not a silver lining dressed up as insight. Just space for what was actually there to exist without being flattened. My comment was accurate. The comment section was split between flattery and judgment, both certain, both missing it entirely. Neither could hold what was actually happening. Accurate witnessing doesn't flatten. It holds the full picture, contradictory, unresolved, exactly as it is. Not a verdict, not a reassurance. Just room for what was actually there to exist. Accuracy doesn't land the same way in everyone. When someone is defended against what is true, it arrives as a threat, something to push back against, to reject. But when someone already knows the thing, when it has been sitting in them unspoken without room, it arrives as something else entirely. Relief, recognition, finally. Someone said it. She already knew. She was living it. What she hadn't been given in a comment section full of noise was room to hold it. And then she followed me. Not from the account where the video was posted, from a different one. Which means the comment sat with her long enough to produce a deliberate action separate from the heat of the moment. That's not a reactive follow. That's recognition moving at its own pace. And I felt it. Because accuracy doesn't always land well. Sometimes it arrives as an intrusion. Sometimes it produces anger. I have learned over time to contain what I see, because the precise thing is not always welcome. So when she reached toward it rather than away from it, that meant something specific. The thing I have learned to be careful with was the thing she followed. The witnessing ran back toward me, both of us seen accurately. Both of us held. That's what ran between us. I've built this accuracy over the past few years, on myself. I turned inwards, witnessing myself with unyielding accuracy. Not always comfortable, but ultimately worthwhile because it created space for me to just be as I am without the overlay of needing to be different in the moment. Accuracy is what this method is built on. Not who someone should be, not who they are told they are, not who they are trying to become. Just what is actually present, held without flattening, without judgment, without the need to resolve it into something more manageable. See what is. Hold it exactly as it is, and discover what becomes possible when you do. The observer method is being built from the inside out. What you're reading here is part of that process. Follow along.